All right, we flying today. There is no doubt that we will be moving a lot. We will be moving at a rather fast pace because there's a lot to get into. So the rundown for those of you that might have missed it. Coming up in a bit after we get through opening kickoff, we're going to catch up with Mike Jeffries, the head coach of Charlotte Independence, as they get ready for their matchup 2 miles away from their their other team in the city, Charlotte FC. So Mike Jeffries coming up in about 10 minutes. Then we get our UPSL catch-up. Jason has an interview, and we're going to catch up with UPSL Georgia and find out what's going on in and around everything in the UPSL. That's at 9:30. Dylan Butler is going to join us at 10 o'clock, unless there's another marquee coach that resigns or something to that effect. We got to talk about Mascherano. We got to talk about Open Cup. We got to talk about the week that was. We got to get into the week that will be. So that's at 10. 10:30-ish, Gabe Schray is going to join us to give the 411, as the kids say, on Chattanooga FC. And we'll break all of that down as Atlanta United is headed north. So 7:30 tonight, 7:33, I think, is kick. Atlanta United, Chattanooga FC. Gabe is the play-by-play voice for Chattanooga FC in MLS Next Pro. We're catching up with Gabe, friend of the show, gives us an excuse to see him anyway. After that, Rob Ukrop, chairman Richmond Kickers, is going to join us. We caught up with him yesterday as they were getting ready for their matchup in Open Cup. So, rundown, opening kickoff. We got scores, we got highlights, we got stuff. We got highlights on Open Cup. We got highlights and post from what happened at the Azteca last night with Nashville. We have, Open Cup mashup. We've got LAFC highlights. We've got Nashville highlights and post. We've got Mike Jeffries, Charlotte Independence. We got a UPSL update. We got Dylan Butler, Gabe Schray, Rob Ukrop, Champions League all the way at the end because of everything that happened there. It looks like Hugo Ekitike might be out for about 9 months. That is a suspected Achilles tear. And anything else that might happen between now and then. All right, so can't screw around. We are not screwing around. So here's what's going on. All right. As we look at things, what happened last night, since we're kind of getting into Open Cup with our interview with Mike Jeffries coming up in just a bit. So last night it was very, very busy. You had your round of cup sets and things. So here officially is a hastily edited mashup of what happened last night in the Open Cup, courtesy of our friends at the U.S. Open Cup and Paramount Plus. You're going to hear Joe Malfa, Marion Crowder more than once. You're going to hear Mike Watts, I believe. So you're going to hear a bunch of voices in a very short period of time. Here's a highlights package of what happened last night, and that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com.
Dominic Vonner misses! Minnesota United at the very end, in 12 rounds of a shootout, find a way through into the round of 16.
It's always a heartbreaking way to lose. I think you and I can agree that this was a game that absolutely deserved to go the full distance. Penalties was where we thought we always were going to be, but it doesn't make it hurt any less, and it doesn't make the win feel any less, because what a performance ultimately from Minnesota United under pressure. Smur came up when he needed to.
Jose Quizera hesitates. Parisian makes the save. Edge to New England. Afonso bested again by Parisian. It's there for the Revs. J.J. Williams saved again by Parisian. It's 3 in a row. Tanner Beeson sends the Revs through to the round of 16.
Now they have. Colorado Springs pulls off the cup set. The Switchbacks swing their mighty sword and cut down Kansas City to advance to the round of 16 for the first time in the club's history, while claiming their first ever victory over an MLS club, and they did it as convincing as you could have asked for. They win it by 3-0, and they await either the Rapids or Union Omaha in the round of 16. It's one of the great cup nights in Colorado Springs history.
That's it! Full time! Louisville advancing on to the round of 16! Ousting Austin! 2-1! Their first win over an MLS side in 8 years. And Louisville City, a 2-1 victory over Austin, provide the first cup set of the round of 32.
Admittedly, it was edited backwards with what happened last night. So going backwards, 12 rounds. Minnesota beat Sacramento at Heart Health 1-0. Colorado gets the goal, and that's all they needed to knock off Union Omaha. Great run by Los Burros, the Murder Owls. Colorado Springs takes care of Sporting Kansas City, and I think that means literally we knew that Sporting Kansas City was going to have a rough year. Colorado Springs at a plus 140, they were favored, 3 on the board. Actually, it was 2 on the board, then it was a red, and then it was a goal number 3. Chicago Fire hang on in Hamtramck at Keyworth against Detroit City 2-1. New York City, it was a Talis Magno hat trick, 5-2 win over Westchester SC. You heard Lou City's ending over Austin, 2 goals in 6 minutes for Lou City, and it was their win over Austin at a plus 120. Remember, those juice boxes flipped. Those juice boxes, in fact, flipped to where Austin was initially a favorite, and then that flipped to where Lou City was a favorite by the time it was done at a plus 120. And then New England, J.J. Williams. You get a J.J. Williams flashback, scoring at the death to send it into 105 and then 120 and then PKs. And then the keeper, Donovan Parisian, 21-year-old backup keeper for the Revs, comes up big, saving 3 of the PKs against Rhode Island FC. So your winners once again, Minnesota 9-8 in PKs in 12 rounds. Colorado 1-0 over Omaha. Colorado Springs shuts out Sporting Kansas City. Chicago Fire over Detroit. NYC over Westchester. Lou City 2-1. Revs 2-1. So your Colorado Springs was at a plus 140, and they were favored as the home team against Sporting. Then the other plus side favorite was Lou City, and so plus side favorites actually won from USL Championship last night. So you get those 2 on the board. So today, to give you an idea as to where things are, and once again, thanks to our friends at the Open Cup and Paramount Plus for all of that. And the other voices you heard, I think, was Josh Eastern and Ricky Lopez-Espin. So 7 o'clock, Naples on the purple team. Naples is a plus 333. So is the draw. Purple team's a minus 167. 7:30, Red Bulls in Pittsburgh. So add a couple of minutes. Red Bulls in Pittsburgh. Red Bulls minus 208. Draws a plus 300. Riverhounds a plus 500. 7:30, DC United and 1 Knox. DC United minus 213, plus 309 on the draw. 1 Knox is a plus 450. Don't put anything past Ian Fuller and 1 Knox. Richmond and Columbus, like I said, we'll catch up with Rob Ukrop at the end of the show. Richmond a plus 725 at City Stadium at 7:30, hosting Crew. Crew's a minus 400. Remember, no Wessam Abu Ali. It is an MCL damage, and I think it was patellar, but there are 2 sets of concerns for Wessam Abu Ali, out for the foreseeable future and out for a very long time. Crew minus 400, draws a plus 475. The intra-town battle, Charlotte FC minus 400. This is at Matthews. It's not even at American Legion. It's at Matthews, minus 400, where Crown Legion plays. Draws a plus 450. Independence a plus 850. We're going to catch up with Mike Jeffries here in a sec. Chattanooga is a plus 350 at home, hosting Atlanta United. Atlanta United a minus 172. There are injuries and concerns. We'll go over that list in and around Gabe Schray about 10:30. Draws a plus 300. 8 o'clock, St. Louis City and FC Tulsa. City is a minus 227. Big favorite. Don't sleep on FC Tulsa, though. Draws a plus 350. FC Tulsa is a plus 425. Dynamo hosting El Paso at a minus 217. El Paso, the only undefeated team left in USL Championship. El Paso's a plus 450, draws a plus 350. And then the late game, San Jose and Phoenix. San Jose's a minus 270. Phoenix Rising a plus 500, draws a plus 425. All of those are on either Paramount Plus, Golazo, or CBS Sports Network. They do have a Golazo show planned this evening. So probably with all of those early kicks, 4, 6, 8 of the 9 kicks between 7:03 and 8:03, I'd watch Golazo. If you're unless you're at Findlay with Chattanooga and Atlanta, or in Charlotte watching FC and Independence. So or in City Stadium, of course. I have to talk about our guests for Richmond Kickers hosting Columbus Crew. So 8 of the 9 matches between 7:03 and 8:03 Eastern kicks. Then you have the 10 o'clock kick with Earthquakes and Phoenix Rising. So that's the layout for Open Cup. That was fast. Opening kickoff brought to you by Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. We start your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend, made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. Now that gets us to our first guest, and it's time to catch up with Mike Jeffries, the head coach of Charlotte Independence, as we got ready to find out what study hall is like for them as they're getting ready for their game against Charlotte FC. So here's our interview with Mike Jeffries as they get ready, Independence and Charlotte FC. So how has study hall been getting ready for this? I'm not even going to call it a crosstown matchup. It's just a town matchup. What's study hall been like getting ready for this one?
This is always tricky. They have a lot of good cards, and it's always difficult to figure out sort of how they line up, what they do. The motivation part's easy. Guys are definitely up for it, and I've been looking forward to this for some time. We always enjoy. We I've played reserve game or their reserves quite frequently. And the guys enjoy that. So I think they're looking to, having a real game on the line with something on the line and seeing. But as far as, what you can put together preparation wise, you have a pretty good sense of how they're going to play and the style. But the who is a pretty good mystery.
So then how do you try to figure out the who without knowing the who? Is it just saying, okay, I know that this is a tendency? How far back in tape do you go? Do you sit there and, get your subscriptions to all the services and everything? How do you prepare when you've got an idea, but you don't know the who that's attached?
So I think, look, the teams generally play, with certain tendencies, play the systems, and Charlotte FC has been fairly consistent. And some of that we did review Crown Legacy games as well, and they're played in a different manner at times in terms of the tempo, the pressure, etc. So we have to do that. We in some ways, look, they benefit from. We played a game against the reserves a month and a week ago. So we get a little bit of a feel for them and for potentially some of the guys from that game, and can go back through that. And obviously they get a pretty good look at us as well. So it probably makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah. So when you're in something like this and you're having to juggle early matches in League One, and is it, how difficult is it for you to juggle your regular season and Open Cup with your rosters and conditioning and everything? How much of a challenge is this for you?
It's been an interesting challenge. In some ways, our schedule with League One has been weirdly light, and we've only played 3 games. So the first game against Ristosi was actually convenient for us in that we had a weekend off, past that. So, and it was early season, so it was a chance to get a few guys a good run as well against solid opposition. The game with Charleston fell midweek in our busy week with the game on either end, and it was difficult. And probably for us on a normal year, maybe not so bad, but this year we've had kind of just a weird slew of injuries. So I can't complain about the lighter league schedule. Probably helped us a little bit with that, but trying to balance the group with injuries and so forth has been fairly difficult.
What did you learn about yourself outside of navigating injuries and understanding where folks can be plugged in and all this kind of stuff? What did you learn about yourself in the Ristosi game and then again in the Battery game with all the league stuff going on in between?
I thought our mentality was great. The guys were came in, were tuned in the whole game and sharp. With Ristosi, felt like we had a pretty good handle on the game. Early goal, and then we didn't push to get the second one enough, and they come back, make it 1-1, and then I thought, look, we came out the second half and raised the tempo a little bit, and I thought we're good. The Battery was a real challenge. I felt like we actually started the game and defensively were very strong and managed them fairly well through the first 60 minutes or so. Great to be up 2-0 at that point on a couple of counterattack goals. For us to concede quickly and sort of 2 goals in 5-6 minutes, but then have the wherewithal to hang in the game. And clearly we get a little bit of a break with the red card. But I was sort of more proud of us in that 15 minutes between when it became 2-2 and we didn't let it get to 3-2. And I thought that was, really pretty strong mentality and appreciated the competitiveness of the group to manage those situations. So I think we've learned and grown a little bit from the 2 games, without a doubt. And they both have different positives that hopefully we can take into this one.
When you're heading out of 90 and you're going to play 120, what's the conversation like? Because of how the game went, it gets to a point, you think you got it, then it gets back to even, then you get through 90. What's the conversation going from like 90 to 105, 105 to 120? So they are still engaged and they still understand the gravity of the situation and they fight through all of that fatigue.
I guess the first question is can you still move and where are you fitness wise and so forth? And in the Battery game, at least we felt like we had a pretty a little bit of a thinner bench just with the injuries. So that was one, and trying to just make sure guys were healthy, motivated, and we could push. 2, look, the reminder is that the 90 minutes before are done, and that that this is the full 30, and we can play and look with Charleston. The break was obviously being up a man, but by then the game was fatigued and starting to get opened up, and they had some pretty dynamic players, and they'd made a couple good subs. So it was just for us it was look, let's manage ourselves, keep our shape defensively, do the best we can with that, and then when we get chances on the ball, let's keep it and pick our spots to get forward. And then the reminder is that always, look, these games so often when they are tight come down to 1 or 2 plays, and just looking for a guy to step up and make the play. That changes the dynamic of the game.
When for someone who hasn't seen you play this year, all things being equal, 100%, you've got the starting 11 that you're looking for. How would you describe what you're doing when you're being successful and it's going the way that you want? How would you best describe your way of play?
I feel like we're a team that's I won't go into the old Nolan Richardson 40 minutes of hell. You have to go way back with Arkansas for that.
I'm right there with you.
I know you'd appreciate that, but but I feel like we're a team that's capable of playing the full 120 and being a good team. With being able to press and also being a team that's capable of going quickly in attack. And being pretty dynamic getting forward, and being a sort of north-south type of team. So I think when we're at our best, those are, some of the things that we would look to try to be. We're certainly guys are pretty composed and we have a pretty good group on the ball, but I don't know that I would call us purely like a possession-oriented team.
I was going to say, then who's Mayday in your backcourt, and who's Corliss Williamson when it comes to 40 who's the power forward that's going to cause problems up top, and who's your backcourt?
Yeah, so we actually and we haven't had enough chance to get the full group in actually, with guys like Prince Sadie that's not played yet in regular season, but clearly Maru is the sort of power forward that offers different combinations in behind and box movement, but also does an outstanding job of setting the table for pressure and initiating pressure, and just is sort of a tireless worker up there, and does that. And then look, Alvarez is the guy that sort of that we feed off a lot of times with the ball. We have other guys that are very capable of making plays, and Enzo Martinez, Baquero. Other sort of midfield type players, but those would be the sort of the 2 guys that are sort of the mainstays of what we do from midfield forward.
And when they had the big pomp and circumstance and presentation, and they spin the plastic balls and they cut them in half, and then they sit there and they flash that you're going to have the city matchup. Since that breaking of the plastic and the announcement, what has the vibe been like from fans and civilians who want to sit there? They want a patch on the shoulder. Do you have to come up and hand them the index card that's got the 4 standard responses of yes, we're going to do our best, yes, we're doing this? What has the response been like from the fans getting ready for this one?
Our supporters group are great. So even right after Charleston, and we probably felt like we had a pretty good sense that this is the way it would play out. That this was a good possibility anyway. And we're excited about it. We're excited about the possibility. From the player standpoint, as I said, they're definitely looking forward to it and are excited about it. Look, it's a game in which, we have an opportunity maybe to introduce ourselves to a lot of fans that otherwise wouldn't see us necessarily, that have been Charlotte FC fans from the day Charlotte FC came into town, and some who don't even know that we existed before they announced this game and haven't been out. So it's an interesting game for us in that regard. We play in a home stadium that's basically not even 2 miles from where their home stadium is. So it's a little bit of a unique situation. Clearly we look at it as a good opportunity from the standpoint of playing and just being able to match up against a higher level team. But also maybe to put ourselves out in front of some people that haven't had a chance to see us play.
Well, we're looking forward to it for it's like I said, I'm just going to call it a town rivalry. It's not a cross-town rivalry since it's 2 miles apart-ish between stadium and everything. Thanks for your time, especially knowing that your schedule is mega busy and getting ready for this thing and people knocking on your door and all this kind of stuff. It's great to see you. Can't wait to see what's going to happen
trouble.
With the 2 mile separation, and we're looking forward to it. Thanks for dropping by as you always do.
All right, not a problem. All right.
Mike Jeffries, head coach of Charlotte Independence. And Dell, I do see your questions. We had to catch up with Coach last night on tape. So literally it was catch up with him at like late afternoon. He was on his way to go in and look at Portland Hearts of Pine tape. So I will save the questions. And then once we're on the other side of this matchup, but I think too, no, it's all good. I think, and it wasn't an improper question, I think that you look at the relationship between Jeffries and Troy Lesane. I think that Troy, and this is just me, I think that Troy needs to catch his breath for a minute. And I would see him coming back in the lower divisions, maybe something collegiate, something like that, just to kind of get back into the swing of things. I could see him as an assistant in the lower divisions. I could see him in college or something like that. But no, I think that obviously with Mike and the mentoring of other young coaches, that's a slam dunk. But I would anticipate that for someone who enjoys coaching as much as we have seen Troy do it, I think that he just needs a bit of a break considering what happened at DC United. And so no surprise that that it would surprise me if he doesn't come back. Let's put it that way. And so I think that it's going to be really interesting coming forward to see what it's going to look like involving the two of them and their mentorships and things. And so I think it's going to be really cool to see what's going to happen with those two going forward. Okay, it is almost 9:30, and I thought I had loaded the interview, but I guess I didn't. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to do this at the same time that we're talking. So it is time for our update when it comes to anything and everything going on in the UPSL, and it's a chance to catch up with Jason.
All right, I'll do a little fake intro, and we'll be ready to start.
Oh, okay. And so caught that a little too soon. So here we go. So let me move this forward, and here we go with the update. And we'll play this and go from
the UPSL. Nick Webster, who joins me now. Nick, how are you?
I'm brilliant, Jason. Thank you so much for having me and UPSL on the show. I think we got lots to talk about.
Yeah, tons to talk about. I mean, let's start with just how you got involved with UPSL here recently.
Well, it's kind of a long story. I've actually been a player. I mean, I know I might look a bit older now, but I've been a player in UPSL. I've been a coach in UPSL, and was good friends with Lewin Fraser, who was the former COO of the league. We run into each other at a lot of AGMs, and at the last soccer AGM in Atlanta, Lewin and I were sitting together, and I nominated him to a position on the adult council, which he was like, what are you doing? I'll never get in. And funny enough, he got voted in this time. And then he said that there was a position coming up within the league, and would I be interested? And like I said, being a player and a coach, I've always had, big dreams about what the sport can be in this country. And the stars aligned, and I applied for the position, and a couple of interviews later, here I am.
It's funny. We have a lot in common, and not just the Atlanta Silverbacks portions of our history, but a lot of our work has kind of dovetailed where you and I have both done the broadcast side of things, but we've both been on the league and on the team and on the supportive side. You've done the coaching side as well. UPSL is such a fertile, I think, grassroots portion for the game's growth in the United States. For somebody who doesn't know it, why would you explain that UPSL is so vital for soccer in this country right now?
Well, it's a really interesting question, because UPSL sits in this, I don't want to call it a gray area. Let's call it a golden area.
Yeah.
Because it is the next pathway for players that have a dream, or for players that want to play at a decent level. If we think about soccer in this country, the youth game is all powerful, in good ways and in bad ways, for sure. I think there's some good actors and bad actors within the youth game, but it's not really at this particular moment in time developing the kind of players that we need to get success at the international level. UPSL provides this pathway to the pro leagues for many players that get missed out on, and they get missed out on because they don't play for the right clubs. They're not playing in the right leagues. They can't afford to play the game at the youth level, which we all know is very, very expensive. UPSL is like the cheapest, the most inexpensive way you can play high-level soccer in this country, and with the opportunity to go from different levels with the A-League, Division One, and then the Premier level. And I think we're seeing, especially in the last 6 to 12 months, that pro clubs, USL clubs, MLS teams, and even international teams are looking at our league and going, hey, wait a minute, there's talent here, and there's talent that we're missing out on. And so that's why I believe that the UPSL has such an opportunity to not only develop the professional game, but also allow players, both female and male, to enjoy this game at a high level, because it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, there's a gem in amateur football, and this goes throughout the world, that gets discovered. And perhaps the most famous name is Jamie Vardy, who was playing non-league football for Fleetwood Town, and the next thing you know, he's the top goal scorer in the Premier League, and he's won a Premier League title. So there's this great opportunity for players that may have gone to college and not got that opportunity to go to the next level, to refine their game, still play at a really good level, and then go again.
It's been fascinating seeing everything grow here in Georgia, where you have some very strong, established, long-running clubs in UPSL in the top division, like Georgia Revolution is one that's been around for a long time. You have some teams in smaller areas of the state that kind of have that area to themselves, and kids and players there might not get noticed. And then you have an Atlanta United and now a Chattanooga Red Wolves who have teams in the league. It feels like the UPSL really can be that development tool for U.S. soccer as a whole, across players, across coaches, across administrators, and across community.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would love to see, and there were MLS clubs within the UPSL ecosystem, and the same with USL. I think what we can offer is we can offer local soccer. And when I mean by local, yeah, I mean sometimes you're looking at an hour and a half travel time, but it's still local compared to, you're talking about Atlanta United and having to travel to New York or having to go to Dallas. I mean, these are massive distances for young players, and it costs clubs a lot of money. I mean, because you're involved, you know what the budgets we're talking about. Now. A UPSL budget could be as small as like $5,000 for a season, which is your membership, league dues, and then a little bit of travel. For the pro teams, I mean, you're looking at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a season just to move youth players around. So this is the opportunity that I would love for professional clubs to go, you know what, we can put our younger teams in the UPSL, because at the end of the day, you get better as a player by playing up.
Yeah.
You don't get better by playing within your own age group. You get better by playing against, tough, maybe former professionals, maybe semi-professionals. But that is the education that happens throughout the world, except unfortunately here in America. And if we can change that, it's only going to help. It's going to help the whole ecosystem, and we're going to find. I promise you, people are going to go, "Oh my God, Webster's out of his mind." You're going to find that gem, that one player who is going to take the world by storm. And I'm not saying you're going to find the next Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, but you are going to find a player of exceptional quality, and he's going to come from UPSL.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it here locally. Players have had the opportunities to sign with Atlanta United too, based on how they performed in UPSL against Atlanta United academy teams. Openings happen. You need a midfielder. Hey, there's this guy that our U18s played against, and he was really good, and he gets an opportunity at a professional career. I think it's also the thing that I always come back to with UPSL is it can be in so many different places. I think when we look at this country, we think all the players are going to come from certain parts of California or certain parts of Florida or Pennsylvania, where they've always come from. And we don't think about Alabama, and we don't think about Mississippi or Iowa. I called the national finals a couple of years ago, and Dodge City Toros had a number of players that I was texting every college coach that I knew, like, hey, you need to come look at this guy. There's talent all over the country, and I feel like UPSL is nimble enough to be in all of these different places.
Well, I mean, look, that's a great point. I was the coach of the Cal South ODP team. We were the U17s back in 2015, and we had an exceptional team, and quite a few of the players actually went on to have semi-pro, pro careers. We played Iowa in the final. And you think to yourself, Iowa, what are they even doing in the final of the National Olympic Development Program?
Yeah.
And they had this kid up front. I think his parents were from Iran. He was one of the best players I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And he got discovered through the ODP program. I'm sure he probably played UPSL, because that's what, to your point, without the stage, that kid would never, ever, ever have been seen. Yeah. And that's what we can't afford to miss out on players of that exceptional quality. And within the structure of the league, that's how they're going to develop. So I would say to anybody listening that if you have that dream that you can become a semi-pro or a professional player, and you haven't been given the opportunity through the pro clubs, this is your pathway.
Yeah, we see it in Open Cup. We see it in all these different platforms. It's so exciting to see. The league's almost 1,000 clubs now, and you have a growing academy side and you have a growing women's side. What are the next kind of steps for the league as a whole, as we all in the U.S. soccer ecosystem are looking at what comes after this summer with the World Cup in town?
Well, my dream, and it's kind of a bizarre, really out there dream, is that every town in this country has a UPSL team. Just like in the rest of the world, every town has a soccer team, has a football team.
Yep.
I also see, I would love every youth club in this country to have a senior team. And I think that's what happens in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You have a club, you have, your U15s to 19s, and then you have a senior team. And I think that that's an opportunity that is out there. And I would love for youth clubs to be able to look at a bigger picture for when, their kids age out, their players age out, and they go to college, or they get a job, but they don't have a team to play for, and that community connection. For many kids, they play on the same club team their entire lives. They join as a U7, a U8, and they'll play 10 years, and then it's over. I can't represent my club anymore that meant so much to me and that I've spent so much time at. So that's something that I'm really actively looking at in terms of, and it's not all, Jason, it's not all about growth. UPSL has done so well because it's grown organically. But I do see the game and certainly post World Cup growing. And so a byproduct of the game growing is that UPSL will grow because, I think there's a certain amount of saturation within the youth market in the affiliated, but it's the unaffiliated market, which is probably dwarfs the affiliated market, really.
I agree.
Those are the players that I'm interested in working with and talking with and giving them the opportunity to play with us.
Well, firsthand, I mean, from your experience with Eric Winalda and Cal FC, and, we saw that firsthand, a lot of those players who came through what you guys did got professional opportunities, and they were probably coming from unaffiliated leagues for the most part. Coming in through that team, they get an opportunity in the Open Cup, and then some went on and had pretty good professional careers based off of that investment of y'all's time into it. How much does your experience with that and with other soccer experiences in your life kind of inform you as to what's next and what should be next for UPSL?
Yeah, I mean, look, that was an amazing experience with Eric, and to go on a run like that as an amateur team and to actually beat the Portland Timbers in their home stadium was a memory that will stay with me forever. And I would say that at least 7 of the squad we found playing Sunday league football.
Yep.
In Southern California, it's very competitive at the unaffiliated level. The players get paid. They get paid. Sometimes they get paid a lot of money. They're playing 3-4 games a day. There's all kinds of fun stuff going on within those unaffiliated games that we don't really need to go into on this particular show.
Very true.
But that's where you find, honestly, I hate to say it, but that's where you find the nuggets. That's where you find the rough diamonds playing in that kind of soccer, because it's tough. It's every man for themselves and every woman for themselves. And within that environment, you just, as a coach or as a scout, as a team admin, you got to roll up the sleeves and perhaps go to areas and fields that you wouldn't usually go to. And you really need to have an open mind. And I think that when we look at the makeup of our national team right now, I go, where are all the Hispanic players?
Mm-hmm.
In this country right now, over 50% of our players are Hispanic. And this is a group that is massively underserved, and I think the UPSL can step in here and be that helping hand and be a guardian, of the game for a segment of the population that maybe is not getting a fair shake.
It's a great entry point for a lot of clubs, and I've seen that firsthand in Georgia, how clubs have either had youth and then went into UPSL and grew, or had a UPSL team that might have been playing Sunday League and then was able to grow a second team or grow a women's team out of it. The women's in the academy side is something that's really fascinating to me that I'm seeing UPSL start to do more of. What does that look like for you with a national women's league and the academy side of where UPSL can fit in?
Well, I think when we look at the women's semi-pro, and look, let's be honest, that the professional game, we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I think this is a massive opportunity for all of the soccer ecosystem to boost the women's game. You know, the girls ECNL, the girls on the youth side, it's massive. I mean, there's more girls playing than boys within affiliated soccer. And once again, you know, as I briefly mentioned earlier, once they finish their club program and whether they go to college or not, where do you go?
Yeah.
Where do you play? And this is something that we are really looking at in great detail. And I think you'll see over the next 12 months that the WUPSL is going to get a lot of love. And we're really actively pursuing ways where we can attract young ladies to play this game and get teams throughout the country. Right now, I think we're about 150 teams. I honestly, you may think I'm crazy, but I honestly think that we could get it up to 300 clubs within the next year. And we've got a Women's World Cup that is, right around the corner. It's just 13 months away, which is going to give the game another boost. And then we've got the Women's World Cup coming to American shores in 2031. All things aligning. So this is a massive, massive chance for us as a whole. And I'm not talking about UPSL. I'm talking about soccer in general, to give the women's game, which is by far the fastest growing segment of the soccer ecosystem. And then from the youth side, it's a really interesting question that we're trying to figure out what the answer looks like, because the youth is it's a really fragmented market. I think that's the first thing we have to acknowledge. It's the acronym soup, and everybody claiming to be the best league. And I think, you mentioned the two different pathways. One, there's a UPSL team and they develop their own youth. I'm more of the mindset, and we just spoke about that youth teams develop a UPSL senior team.
Yep.
Not only do they have the resources, they have the players, but 9 times out of 10 they have facilities as well. And I think one of the hardest things for a new UPSL team when they come into the league is developing that facility model. We have standards that we really want to be met. And that means having a good field, hopefully without football lines. It means having at least a set of bleachers. We'd love it if there's changing rooms. And these are very hard to source. And look, a lot of venues and facilities, they go straight to youth, and rightly so. However, don't forget the adults, because there's actually more adults playing soccer than there are kids playing soccer.
I think it's hard for some people to understand that. And that's been an area that, we've talked about the growth of youth soccer over the years, but I think the growth of adults being able to continue to play is something that hasn't really been acknowledged in this country a whole lot. And that's from a purely recreational fun level to this kind of level. It's just really exciting, all of the growth at every single different level of where the game is in this country right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to age myself. When I first came to America, I played open. And then before you knew it, I was in the over 30s, and then the over 40s, and the over 50s. And, recently made my debut in the over 60s. But yeah, listen, it's the greatest game in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And you can play it at any age. And the great thing about soccer is that, all abilities, all shapes, all sizes. I remember Maradona when he was going through, one of his eating spells, but he was still the most incredible player, the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So, anybody can play this game, and I think that, we the UPSL, we're open. Anybody can play. If you're under 18, you can play. We don't close the door to anybody, and it doesn't matter what age you are. You could be 40 and still good enough to play. Then there's a place for you. So I think that is why this league has so much staying power and the ability to attract players of varying degrees. I mean, not everyone's going to be in the Premier League, but if you still want to play, at a good level, there's Division One and there's the A League. So, you mentioned it earlier. I think that as we grow, I think there is room for another division, perhaps an elite division that would sit above the Premier. And I think that with this post World Cup boost that we're surely going to have, I think that could be a strong possibility in 2027.
Definitely something that I could see as well. It's exciting to see UPSL soon over 1,000 clubs and all of the cool things happening for the league. And here in Georgia, you've got a lot of really good teams, a lot of top players. You had teams in the Open Cup this year, a ton of growth across the state and across the region. Nick, thank you so much for the time and all the enlightenment on everything going on UPSL, and we'll be talking again soon.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And for more on UPSL, go to upsl.com. This is my promo right here. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. And the great thing about those two channels, you might also find a live stream somewhere. And if you want to watch some good quality soccer for free on your phone or on your computer, well, that's the way to go.
Nick Webster, EVP of the UPSL, as we continue our weekly updates in the UPSL. And that was a great interview with a lot of cool stuff. That'll be up on our podcatchers and all the other places that you can find it. That'll be up in short order. As we all know, Jason had a very late night. So Morning Espresso might be out a little bit later than normal. And the Nick Webster interview, like I said, really cool stuff with the UPSL and how he envisions it here in 2026 and in 2027. And just a quick reminder, if you're not reading Morning Espresso, you're starting your soccer morning without the full picture. Jason and the SDH team put it out every day. Free, lands in your inbox before you need it. Go to soccerdownhere.net and subscribe. Soccerdownhere.net. You can go, and it's right there in the middle of the page. When you go and check out all of our other written copy, you can go to the website, our website, with our base of operations with everything. Go to soccerdownhere.net, subscribe, and then if you're listening here, that's your natural next step, because there's only so much we can do in 2+ hours. Jason adds to it, supplements and adds to it in stories, supplements it in information, and all of the analysis that's attached there too. So everything we talk about here, it's in the newsletter. It comes out every morning. Soccerdownhere.net. It's already in your inbox if you're subscribed. If you're not, go there, and hit read. You're on the list. So Morning Espresso, get it. I get it. And it helps me out when it comes to confining my thoughts, because as we all know, I'm like a golden retriever brain. And so that helps me organize my thoughts as well, knowing what my rundown is every single day. Dylan Butler joining us in about 5 minutes. So let's go here and discuss what happened last night in CONCACAF. 2 matchups. We'll go backward. We'll start with what happened involving Nashville and what went down there. And I thought I loaded that too. Did I not load that one too? John is just out of control this morning. So he's like, uploading things and then not uploading things. Anyway, so it was a big night for Nashville at the Azteca. And here are your highlights, and you'll also hear a couple of quick highlights from the tail. And you'll also hear from Hani Mukhtar. This is from our friends at Fox Soccer, Tyler Terrens, and Mo Adu on the call. Maybe if I hit play.
Running forward, threads it through for Espinoza. Mukhtar, excellent little pullback. It's Hani Mukhtar, and Nashville take the lead in the Azteca and score that ever-important away goal. And that's it, full time. Nashville SC, the first ever Major League Soccer side to win at Estadio Azteca. They win the 90 minutes, they win the tie, and BJ Callahan's group are dancing into the semifinals.
It was a very difficult game for us as a team, but we fought, and I think we showed character. It's not easy to play here. Club America is a huge club. It's a good team, a lot of great players, and yeah, but we showed character. We were compact, and we used our chances.
And to come into this environment and secure semifinal spots says a lot about this team. What has been key for Nashville stepping up in a moment like this throughout the tournament?
We know about this stadium. It's historical. It's beautiful. It's a pleasure to play here, and that's what I said to the guys. It's a pleasure to play in a big stadium like this. We earned it. We deserved it to be here, and I can give credit to Club America. It's a brilliant team. They put us under a lot of pressure, but yeah, we survived, and now we're in the semifinal.
That is absolutely true. Outshot 18-8 XG, if you believe in this kind of thing, 1.28 to 0.38. Brian Schwacke made 9 saves in his 6th CONCACAF CCC clean sheet. Sam Surridge was a surprise absence, did not even make the trip. Hamstring injury. So obviously we'll keep an eye on that as Nashville gets ready to show up here on the weekend to take on Atlanta United. That's one match. Then there was the other match that happened earlier. And here's your late highlights in this one, courtesy of our friends at ESPN LA. Dave Denholm on the call. I imagine Dave is already up after what happened last night.
Paradela on the left foot. Got it back from Palavecino. Paradela dribbling through the middle of the field. He'll leave it there. Dita, everybody pushing up for Cruz Azul. Tries this right channel. Palavecino, wider still now to Iberi in the corner. Iberi driving towards the edge of the 18. Plays it across the top of the area. Back heel towards the back post. Save Larice on a shot from Palavecino, and he hangs on. Oh, the give and go to Palavecino, and Larice stoned him from 7 yards out. Larice will roll this one outlet. Nicely done all the way wide to Sun. He's got Schaffelberg on the left. Sun dribbling down the middle of the field. Leaves it for Schaffelberg. Schaffelberg left foot. Crosses it across. Dita dives and knocks it out of play. And they're going to call a penalty on Dita, who handballs in the area. Dita can't believe the call as he dove for the ball. Schaffelberg was crossing it. And indeed, the referee says handball. Penalty kick to LAFC here in the 95th minute. We are in the 96th minute. The black and gold lead 3-1 on aggregate. Denis Bouanga is going to step up to take this. And if he buries it, there's really no way back for Cruz Azul. They need 2 goals right now to force extra time. But if Denis scores this, they would need 4 to win. 4 more. Here we go. This could send LAFC into the semifinals. Bouanga for the penalty kick against Kevin Meir. Here he comes, Denis with a short run up, the right-footed shot, and in! It's over! LAFC have buried Cruz Azul in the quarterfinal. Denis flips us into the semis, burying the PK. It's 1-1 on the night and 4-1 on aggregates.
Dave Denholm on the call. Not quite as late as it has been in the past, but LAFC makes it into the semis of the CCC. So when you look at your bracket, and you look at where things are in CONCACAF in Champions Cup, right-hand side of the bracket, it's late tonight. Nashville gets the winner of Tigres and Seattle Sounders. That's the right-hand side of the bracket. Seattle's got some work to do. And then Toluca and LAG, the winner there. Once again, LAG with the away goals. They've got a shot. It's a 1-goal game, but with the 2 away goals, that makes it even more interesting. All you need is 1. All you need is 1, get it to 3-3. You've got it on away goals. And the winner of Toluca and LAG gets LAFC. So in theory, in the semifinals, if you end up with a comeback tonight late by LAG, you could have an El Tráfico semifinal on the left-hand side of the bracket when it comes to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Nashville, like I said, waiting for the winner of Tigres and Seattle Sounders. So keeping an eye on those tonight. LAG, and this is just for the reverse fixture tonight, not for the series, but not for the two legs. LAG listed as a 9 o'clock start, and it is listed as a 9 o'clock start on juice boxes. It is listed as an 11 o'clock start on the CONCACAF website. So you could have matchups going simultaneously. I mean, you could. It is right now listed at 9 o'clock at MLSsoccer.com, listed at 9 o'clock at the juice boxes, listed as 11 o'clock on CONCACAF's website. So we're going to go with 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Eastern with Toluca and LAG, and then Seattle and Tigres is at 11:30. But your numbers, LAG's at a plus 170 to win this evening. Draw is a plus 260. Toluca is a plus 145. Late game, Seattle at home, plus 120. Draws a plus 240. Tigres tonight only is a plus 229. And that's where we bring in our friend Dylan Butler to discuss things. Official term. You're a busy man, sir.
Yeah, a little bit.
Were you on the desk last night?
I am tonight.
Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing it in a couple of different ways in a couple of different places. First match, 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Eastern.
Tonight?
Yeah.
I thought it was 9.
Yeah, Toluca and LAG, because MLSsoccer.com has it at 9 o'clock. Juice boxes have it at 9 o'clock. CONCACAF on their pretty picture has it at 11 o'clock. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, I certainly hope it's 9 o'clock.
You and me both. Yeah, we hope it's at 9 o'clock. So Toluca and LAG, Tigres in Seattle, and we played the highlights from those
What
two.
does the Fox have?
Well, yeah, let's see what the FOX has. So let's see. Like I said, and that's why I deferred to MLSsoccer.com.
I'm checking my guide here.
And it says
I have 9 o'clock.
Okay.
On FS1.
Okay. So we will go with that. So as of this moment, it is 9 o'clock on FS1. Like I said, multiple.
Followed by Sounders Tigres at 11:30 on FS1.
And now, where is that one?
Both on FS1, doubleheader.
So the LAG game is in Carson. Where's the Seattle match being played? Is it at Lumen?
Yes.
Okay, so they're back at Lumen. The grass is in, and they're happy. Okay,
I believe so. Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like at Starfire or in Spokane.
That would be something.
Something like that. Could you imagine that hot crowd? So, all right. So that's tonight. We played the highlights from last night leading into your appearance because we kind of believe in continuity occasionally. And big, huge, massive. Oh my God, how big a win was this for Nashville going to the Azteca and taking care of business. The only thing missing is the necklace around, Honey Mukhtar's, the TCB with the lightning bolt, the Elvis necklace. That's the only thing that's missing, I think, around the neck of BJ Callahan now.
I got to admit, I was on the desk for those two first legs last week. And I really thought Nashville, it was a missed opportunity at home to get something against a subpar Club America team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is going to come back and bite them because you need to at least get a goal. You need to take a lead. Now, the fact they didn't concede was great, obviously. But I'm like, they needed a goal because getting goals at Azteca is not an easy thing to do. So, admittedly, I wasn't super confident in them being able to do that. But look, if he's proven something over time, you need a big goal. It's honey time, right? So, you could say certainly, and I think actually you could definitely say this. I don't think there's a question about it. I think that's the biggest goal in Nashville history right there that he scores. Considering the opponent, the venue, the stage of the competition, absolutely massive. Espinoza sets him up. And then they withstand the pressure, which you knew that was going to come. And they got the and they got the job done. So well played for Nashville. And then on the other side of it, LAFC, look, same kind of thing. We've sort of seen this, like, you want to celebrate a 3-0 win in leg one and be like, it's over, but better.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen that play out. We've seen it earlier with San Diego, right? So with Cincinnati. So, you're cautiously optimistic, and then this phantom PK happens, and you're like, oh boy, here we go. Getting CONCACAF'd with an exclamation point.
Mm-hmm.
And same kind of thing, man. They Hugo Lloris was amazing. And Boanga, fittingly, after just a brutal foul that he suffers, puts it away clinically from the spot. So obviously less surprising that result came to pass, but well done by both of those teams. I kind of thought if you held me to it going into those 4 matches, I would, you're hopeful for maybe 2, but I was like, I think, MLS will get at least 1, and I thought it would be LAFC, and Nashville pleasantly surprised me.
Yeah. So you get the phantom PK call, and then I think it was with 11 to go. Basically, I mean, it was a moment last night where, I mean, Ty Domi, Wendell Clark, Marty McSorley, Todd Bertuzzi, they would have been sat there and they would have gone, yeah, nice hip check. Way to go. That's good stuff. Nothing happens on that call. It's in the 79th minute. Basically, Boanga gets uprooted.
Yeah.
I mean, uprooted, decleated, take your pick. I mean, literally, dude gets hip checked and he's flying. No call. It's like, yeah, okay, 11 minutes to go. We're trying to get out of here. And then you do get the handball at 90 plus, and then Boanga puts that one home to make sure that it is going to be LAFC's. And sadly, in both matches last night, we had to have folks warned on the board. And there's going to be some envelopes that are going to be Federal Express or whatever the official overnight carrier is for CONCACAF to those home sides, because of that chant and that cheer, and going through protocols. Yeah.
Here's a thought. I was thinking this last night, and I wonder if it's something that they can put into play here.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their protocols, right? Like, first time we'll stop, second time you leave the field, third time at bend. So what about this? On the first time, right? How long was that stoppage? 5 minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How about you don't tack that on to stoppage time?
Okay.
Right? Like, so you're the team doing now. Then again, I guess it depends, right? If you're the team leading and that happens, that's good for you.
Yes.
But so there needs to be some sort of, but like if you're losing or the result isn't going your way and that's happening, then punish the team, right? Like how is Mexican teams, especially ones that are in this competition, have a boatload of cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not too concerned about a fine or a slap on the wrist from CONCACAF. So I think in a situation like that, and you could see it a little bit too, like with the Cruz Azul technical staff, like getting concerned about the time. I'm like, just don't tack it on at the end of stoppage time then. Like, punish that team. And maybe if it affects the team on the field of play, then maybe that would be, you would hope, the kind of root action for change.
Yeah. And the thing is, and this is the one thing I don't think that fans have quite realized, is that when your team is, and they might have realized it and they're just like, damn the torpedoes anyway, don't care. But if your team is trailing and you're giving that chant, you're basically weaponizing the chant against your side, because the fact that you're using that chant against your team in your home environment can only penalize you that much further. It's not there for any kind of a benefit. So you're just mad, and it is a transference of that emotion through those words, which is dumb anyway. But, to your point, maybe there should be some kind of an accelerated repercussion in one where you've got the 5-minute delay. Second one, you pull folks off. Third one, you abandon the match. And I thought in the Nashville match, we were going to get to that point where we were going to abandon the match because you had gotten to like 2+, because you'd gotten through 1, you'd gotten to 2. Wasn't as quite as long as it was in the LAFC match. It was a couple of minutes, and they were thinking about it, and you had refs and ARs kind of syncing their watches and everything. And you're kind of wondering, okay, they kept doing it. It's literally, you're like protocol 2+ at that point. And it would have taken, I think it would have taken a lot to abandon the match at that point, considering where it was. But I mean, you're right there, man. You're right there.
So that's
Right
unfortunate.
You're
Obviously.
right there. You're right there. Now, other stuff, going on. There's been plenty to talk about here, and this is the first time that we've had to catch up and really address this stuff. We've got matchups tonight in CONCACAF. We talked about, everyone who's advanced. Yesterday in Major League Soccer, so of course it happened after the show was off the air. And it's
Just to screw you.
They don't consult us in this kind of stuff. It's like we're just going to do it like lunchtime or something like that. Javier Mascherano decides he's done. Personal reasons. He's leaving Messi and friends, and now you have a caretaker manager, and it is you're 3-1-3, and I don't think we're really going to get a full story here, but that one sends shockwaves across the league because we know what we're seeing with Inter Miami, what their expectations are, and they're not being met by the self. And so now Javier Mascherano's out, and you're kind of sitting there going, okay, what's next with this bunch? I mean, I was a shocker yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. I was right there with you. A lot of times when we'll see a manager dismissed, it comes on the heels of, a bad defeat or an elimination from a tournament, and something of that ilk, and that wasn't the case here. So, it was a draw against Red Bull. Was their last result. Disappointing for them, obviously, their second straight one at their new stadium. But yeah, it wasn't. So I don't know. Like it is head scratching. I don't. You would hope for it's not going to come from Miami's side, and who knows what was in an agreement of a separation. Like if even Mascherano can talk, so we may never know.
Guillermo Hoyos takes charge for the foreseeable future, and it's just the league right now, because of CONCACAF, because of league play, because of schedule compression. I mean, the league is spinning pretty quick right now, and we talked about Nashville and where they are and what they've been able to do, and everyone chasing Nashville. I didn't know if I was going to ever have that as a sentence. But, I mean, seriously, everyone is chasing Nashville right now in the Eastern Conference. And you end up also at the bottom of the table where after another Saturday night loss, you have another one of those moments with Joey Saputo. Marco Donadel is met in the parking lot by some of the media after the press conference window happens. I mean, there was no press conference, I don't think, if I remember correctly.
They did not have there was no availability post-match for Montreal.
Yeah, so Montreal makes they had an unavailability.
Yes.
And then they find Donadel in the parking lot. He rolls down his window. Scribes are asking questions. He's kind of smiling and saying he's, really can't comment. And now Marco Donadel is out the door. I think it was 7 wins in 35 or 36, something like that. And now the cycle gets back to where the hamster wheel at CF Montreal and Joey Saputo is where we've anticipated it going, but we didn't know when it was going to happen. So once again, bottom of the table, you're 1-6 out of the blocks. You've given up almost 3 goals a game so far. You've been blown out a lot. You have just the one match at home and it's not a result that you want, and now Marco Donadell's out the door, and say, let's see. So Sunrise is in the East. You better pay your taxes by today unless you file an extension, and Joey Saputo's looking for a new head coach.
You checked all the boxes there. I will say this.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been to Montreal. I love the city.
Yeah.
There is a great soccer culture there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a shame that a place like that, and we've seen it when it's humming.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome, right? Like
for Nancy.
And it's unfortunate it hasn't been that, and like you said, it's a revolving door, and outside of it, being the city that it is, that's a tough job. Like who kind of wants that job?
Why? Yeah. Why would I, knowing what I've known and seeing what I've seen, if I'm a head coach that would be interested in a CF Montreal gig, knowing what I know about Joey Saputo, the George Steinbrenner of Major League Soccer. We haven't quite gotten to the Billy Martin version yet with CF Montreal. I mean, it's like folks aren't coming back yet. But knowing that ish that's there, why would I want to, unless I'm there can sit there and you are so confident in your own abilities, yeah, I could deal with that kind of a thing. It's like, yeah, I can put up with that. I'll show him rar. Why would I even want to be a part of that other than to sit there and say, yes, I'm a head coach in Major League Soccer, parenthesis, yes, I know it's CF Montreal,
Well, and part of the problem too is, like, this is a league where you want to develop players. You want to have a set playing style, right? Like, yes, wins and losses are important, and I'm not quite going the Nancy route here of like completely to that side of it, but you're in a situation where if it's Montreal, like it's almost like like any of these coaches that we've seen kind of going over to Europe, right? Like, to hell with anything else, we got to win, period. Like, I don't care about developing players, if you're not good enough, you're not going to, like, and that's not the way of this league. So, and, it's not like you have an unlimited budget here as well to go and, sign the best players in Europe. So it's seemingly, if you're going to be, if you're not willing to give the time a manager needs, it seems like you're set up to fail.
And sadly, right now, the bottom of the table, 2 of the 3 teams at the bottom have already jettisoned their managers. And purple team is having their problems. Martin Perelman, once again, this is a club. The purple team, and this is just an observation, purple team has the worst defense in Major League Soccer. 7 matches, 24 goals given up. 24 goals. That's 3 point what? 7, 21, so 3.4. A goals against of 3.4. That is insane to me. And I mean, you've only scored 6 and 7, but you have a goals against.
That's not good for the NHL.
No, I mean that's like the 80s with the Edmonton Oilers, man. It's like you're going to just outscore people and have that kind of output. That's just I'm shocked when I see something like that. In addition to everything else, where all right, so 24 goals, and so now I'm fishing. 16, 17. So literally Sporting Kansas City. And we know how rough their year is going to be, considering they lose to Colorado Springs last night at Widener Field in beautiful downtown Colorado Springs, Colorado. You give up 2, then you get a red, then you give up a 3rd to Colorado Springs. You have your MLS defense isn't even to the defense that Orlando is at right now. You've only given up 17 goals. And I say only because that doesn't put you dead last. Montreal's given up 19. Orlando's given up 24. What is going on here, man? I mean, it's just if it seems like if you hit a point in a game and it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then just goals just happen and then you're out the door. It's just I don't know what's going on with some of these clubs where they're just giving up goals by the bunch. It's like literally, it's like the Brady Bunch of defense.
Well, they need to change.
Yes, they do. And this is even after the change.
To quote the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I mean, you got to rearrange. I mean, it literally you get rid of Oscar Pareja, you bring in Martin Perelman. Yeah, what is Griezmann thinking right now? What is Griezmann thinking about his anticipated time with the purple team? What is he thinking about this, man? Do I have a buyback? Do I have a buyback clause? Can I sit there? Is there like a return policy on this contract?
Do I have any friends of mine who play defense who want to come on over?
Yes, that I can give as a high TAM kind of a thing. We're in schedule compression. Let's see. Columbus got some bad news on the weekend in the matchup against the purple team. Wessam Abu Ali out for the foreseeable future. It is both ligament and knee, I believe, that is damaged there. Then you look at the log jam at the top of the East. Some guy named Greg Berhalter has a team that is currently second in the Eastern Conference behind Nashville. Chicago is second in the East.
And that's a team that you would have included last year in your "Can we play defense" rant that we just had. And they have shored things up on that side of things.
Chris Brady's in net. You've got Mboazi, I think probably I don't know who the what's the trophy for the best defenseman? Is that the Norris?
Oh, and yeah.
Okay, so I think Mboazi might be your leading contender for the Norris in Major League Soccer, having brought him in, and he's getting rave reviews across the board. And you've only given up 5 goals. I mean, so Schwacke has only given up 4 for Nashville, and then you're looking at Vancouver's given up 4. Then you have 5 given up by Chicago and Chris Brady. This is the other part to me. In the West, where we normally are looking at defense, as like secondary. It's like the Western Conference and the National Hockey League. You have 3 teams, San Jose, LAFC, and Seattle, that have only given up 2 goals each. Literally, you would have to take San Jose, LAFC, and Seattle's goals against, multiply it by 4, and you get to Orlando. 3 teams multiplied by 4 times to get to Orlando, and you're seeing with San Jose, LAFC, and Seattle, they've only given up 2 goals each. I mean, Seattle's only scored 6, don't get me wrong, but you've only given up 2 goals each with those 3 teams in the Western Conference, which is what you would normally think in the East.
Yeah, and San Jose, like Chicago, was another team that was leaking goals a year ago, and they've also, done a great job. And listen, full credit, man, to San Jose, because they were a little bit of a laughing stock kind of coming out of the offseason with the whole Espinoza situation.
Yes,
and it's still early days, obviously, and that's what Bruce Arena's sort of warning everyone against here. It's only 7 matches in, but they're one of the really cool stories, in the league right now, right? Like, they bring in Timo Werner. He has only played in in a couple matches, right? So, but even without him, they're getting these results, right? And it's like kind of like a who are these guys kind of a situation, which is really cool and refreshing. Like yes, they brought in a German legend kind of guy too, but like Jack Skahan, did I even pronounce his name right? Like
Skahan, yeah.
Skahan, like, he scores a brace, right? Like you're kind of like looking him up, like who's this guy? Like
Nico Shakiris, Skahan, Preston Judd getting minutes at the age of 26. I mean, it's like the joke that I use is that they may not even be household names in their own household, and you see that what you saw in San Jose, you're seeing in Vancouver also. You bring in the German legend, where he wants to be where he ends up being a guy and not the guy. Thomas Mueller wanted to go someplace where he's a guy. Vancouver, top of the charts. They've scored 19 in 7 matches, and they've only given up 4. Timo Werner comes in, and once again, top of the charts. But he's a guy. He's not the guy. And you've surrounded him with youth and dudes that are getting their first shots. I mean, Aseni Buddha getting minutes and opportunities. So, I mean, it's interesting to see the interplay where MLS and the front officers are developing the talent, and you can supplement with guys here in MLS 2.5 or whatever you want to call it, where they don't have to be the guy at the front of the line sitting there and, waving at the front of the parade every single week. You got other dudes that are helping you out.
Yeah, I mean, look, even you going. I'm going way back here, but you got like a Lothar Matthäus.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
being asked to be the guy, right? Like, and Donadoni being asked to be the guy. Like, obviously early days in the league, right? But that's when. And now through what 30 years almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, 30.
Yeah, 30, 31. Yeah,
31 years. You're seeing the shift in the league. To your point, where these guys are coming over and they're big names, but they're not asked to be the big player, right? They're a complementary piece to what we're building and not the key cog. So. I think it speaks to the development or the growth of the league.
Okay, so you're on the desk tonight.
Yes.
And we are hoping and thinking that it better be a 9 o'clock at an 11:30.
I mean, FS1 says it, so that's got to be.
Yeah. So therefore it is true. So what is the weekend for you after CONCACAF? Are you on the desk on Saturday or what's going on?
Yeah, well, first today I have. Even before the CONCACAFing, I've got a lacrosse game. So
okay, Varsity Media on the YouTubes.
Yeah, 5 o'clock, St. Anthony's and Don Bosco from Jersey.
Okay.
So that should be a fun one. Then CONCACAFing tonight. Then a lacrosse game again Saturday where Malvern Prep comes over from PA to play St. Anthony's. That's like a 12:30 start on Varsity Media YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the desk on Saturday. Yeah.
So nothing's going on for you. So it's just easy time.
It's just really quiet. Yeah.
Yes. MLSsoccer.com at Dylan_Butler. As always, my friend, great to see you. And we actually survived a morning show without another high-profile coach leaving Major League Soccer.
I didn't check my email yet, so it very well could have happened.
Oh, yeah, and like I said, I look at Jason's Morning Espresso. I haven't seen anything there yet. Champions League and all that other stuff. We have not had a bolo, and the folks in the Twitch pitch haven't given me anything. So I think we can catch our breath for a minute or two, have a good call on Varsity Media with all of the high schools, and enjoy the CONCACAFing tonight at 9 and 11:30. And we'll catch up with you again next week, my friend. Great.
Yeah, fingers crossed tonight. Let's see if we can get at least one of these two across the line, right?
Yes, I agree. We'll see you soon, my friend.
Bye, buddy.
There goes Dylan Butler. All right, so Abby had a question about New York, New Jersey, and the upping of the prices. And so it is going to be, traditionally, the 18-mile journey usually costs $12.90 for a return ticket. So New York, New Jersey, New Jersey's NJ Transit currently planning to charge more than $100 for return rail tickets from Penn Station to the Meadowlands. So, and this is from Matt Crafton. That's Truck Series, John. Adam Crafton at the Athletic. The return ticket purchase via NJ Transit currently modeled for more than a 7-fold increase from its usual prices during the World Cup this summer. $12.90 for a return ticket. Same pricing for the FIFA Club World Cup final last summer. New special event pricing, however, due to come into effect for the World Cup, currently due to be over $100. NJ Transit ordinarily offers concessionary prices for seniors, children, and disabled passengers. World Cup pricing will be one blanket price for all categories. A final decision on the price expected to be made in the next few days. World Cup host committee for NYCNJ declined comment, with the transportation plans expected to go live in the coming week. Spokesperson for NJ Transit on Monday, quote, Ticket prices for match day travel have not been finalized, and any reference to cost would be unconfirmed speculation. However, as the governor clearly stated at an earlier press conference this morning with NJ Transit, the cost for the 8 matches will not be borne by our regular commuters. So that is that's the story out of New York, New Jersey. All right, Open Cup continues. Time to catch up with our friend Gabe Schray, find out what's going on, get the Chattanooga FC preview of everything. There he is.
What's going on? How are we?
I can hear me. In addition to you.
You can hear you?
Yeah, I'm looped into your Q speaker.
Dude, my laptop does not like you.
No, it does not. But I'm also seeing you from up high.
Yeah, I got my cameras up here.
Okay. But yeah, I can hear you. And me. So I can still hear me. I'm still in a loop.
Turn it down. Is that better?
I don't know. Is it? Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is better. I've been turned down. So basically, I wanted to bring you in for a couple of minutes from the Schray Studios, LLC, to get the Chattanooga preview and what folks haven't seen so far this season in MLS Next Pro. So, he asked, what have you seen so far this season in Chattanooga FC as they get ready for this matchup with Atlanta United?
And I'm always so impressed with the way that Chattanooga FC has been able to build a roster. As you know, MLS Next Pro is extremely competitive, right? And you have to have a lot of grit to be able to compete and do well. Chattanooga has found their footing in this league early, and has been able to keep up with some of the most talented young guys in the world that are hidden on these rosters by MLS clubs, international talents, 16-year-olds are going to be playing globally one day. And to do that, I don't think people realize how difficult that is. Chattanooga's roster has a lot of different moving pieces to it. But I think as an Atlanta fan, things you need to know, let's just start with a couple of the veterans. Chattanooga has brought back a couple of guys that have been very long tenured, that are very well respected in the area. Most of you probably never have heard of them. Alex McGrath is not only one of my favorite players in all of sports, in any sport, one of my favorite people in the world. He's a great guy. He's the captain of Chattanooga FC. Super hard worker. He is the perfect representation of East Tennessee. Just a first-class guy from England and a wonderful football player. If Chattanooga breaks in and scores tonight against an MLS side in Atlanta, I think it'll have something to do with him. It's pretty likely. He's scored 4 already this season. He's one of the top scorers in club history. He's going to be somebody you're going to want to keep an eye on. You're going to want to know who they are. Watch how he controls midfield, directs the ball, gets it back. He's come through with some crafty plays and steals in the final third, so we might see that out of him. Tate Robertson is so fun to watch play. He was with Chattanooga during their NISA days, left, played professionally, and came back and rejoined Chattanooga in MLS Next Pro, and has now been with the club for a second year in a row again, and is also one of the most tenured in club history. So he'll be problematic for Atlanta. Those two are guys they're going to look to make an impact against that talented back line. As far as Chattanooga goes defensively, Chattanooga has a great back line. But when you're talking about the level of speed and athleticism and talent that Atlanta has, obviously you and I know that's just a different level of athleticism, right? Can they hang with them? I don't know that. We don't know that, right? We can speculate all day long. I can sit here and say, I think this is going to happen. But what I do know is that they have Eldin Jakupovic. And Jakupovic, between the sticks, has been unbelievable for Chattanooga. He was the Golden Glove winner for MLS Next Pro last season. He is one of the most decorated, tenured guys in pro soccer in the globe. He's had a wild career. He's over 40 years old. And his last contract before joining Chattanooga was with these guys right here, actually, LAFC, and came to Chattanooga. And, man, he's been cool since he arrived. I mean, he was working with the academy kids in his first week in town. So just a cool guy, always makes crazy plays and saves, and knows exactly how to direct traffic. He could be problematic for Atlanta. I'm not sure, though. It's just so hard to tell, as you know.
6 matches in, 3-2-1. And 3-1 at Fort Finley, and we all know about the turf at Fort Finley and how it kind of adds itself to the intangibles of a matchup like this. And this is a team that had to adjust to a coaching change just before the season started. So what we were used to and what we thought we were going to see, we're not seeing, and so the team seems to have adapted to that.
Yeah, it does throw a wrench in things. I also think that Richard Dixon is the perfect guy, and I don't know how much you remember of Richard or know of Richard yourself. Richard Dixon is the perfect coach to lead this team in a tournament like this, in a matchup like this. Dixon played 16,000 professional minutes, did well in USL, came to Chattanooga FC. He's one of the greats in CFC history. He's well respected, obviously, by the media in Chattanooga and so well thought of by the front office. But the players, they know that he's been there, he's done that. And he's just a relatable, friendly, easy to talk to guy. You know, he's very easy to talk to. He has that leadership style that you look for. It's like a great high school football coach in Georgia, right? Like you want a guy that you can shake his hand and you don't feel like he's just right there with you. He's just your buddy. And for him to bring that tactical understanding, but also the energy that a guy like that can bring to a locker room, to a roster, to the field, perfect coach for it, in my opinion.
This is the first time that these two teams are playing in a match outside of a friendly/exhibition format. I imagine the vibes on this for the fan base are off the charts. Hey, this is something that means something, and they're getting ready to play Atlanta United to advance to the round of 16. What has the vibe been like?
Okay, this got me too, and it took Jason and I sat and went through this together last night.
Yeah.
Everybody's record of the appearances against one another are wrong. They played in 17. They played in the Open Cup once before, and they played 3 friendlies as well. So they have met in the Open Cup, and it was 6-0 Atlanta United. Ooh. That was a while ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That was a while ago. It was a different era. I think the vibe is extremely good in Chattanooga. And, you know, I'm not just saying this because you're my friend either. Like, I really think that Chattanoogans, obviously it's match day and the fans are like, crush Atlanta, right? That's how they feel today. But man, we love Atlanta United. The players from Chattanooga FC have attended Atlanta United matches regularly over the years. They come down, they go to matches. We're big fans of Atlanta United. So it's just cool because of that. I feel like the front offices, the rosters, and the fan bases have a great relationship. So yeah, it's going to be a little ice cold today. You know, we might not get along today. I might have to bump up on Jason and maybe throw a punch or two at Mike Connie, but every other day of the week, every other day of the month and the year, we're best buddies, right? So yeah. It's good. The vibe is that, and I'll be frank with you, I feel like Atlanta United needs this. Mm-hmm. Atlanta United is such a storied club and franchise, and you have so much history with Martino and his success, and with where things are right now, Atlanta United has to win this match. Mm-hmm. If this was another year and the record was maybe flipped around a little bit in the regular season, so what? It's the Open Cup. We're going to call up a bunch of guys. We don't need to win. I feel like Atlanta United is putting this up as a priority and a match they really want to win, and that couldn't be worse for Chattanooga. Let's be honest, right? It's going to be a tough match, but you know, I think without even getting into stats, that's where my energy is at.
Okay. Keys for success for Chattanooga FC would be what?
Well, Chattanooga is good at production. They produce a lot of chances. Even if they're not on target, they're getting down and they're finding ways to get off shots. Super basic stat, I know, but let's keep it high level just for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm. They're going to produce less chances than usual. Atlanta's back line is not going to make life easy. You know, the goalkeeping is such a higher level. The talent is such a higher level. They're going to have to capitalize on limited chances. They're going to want to get the crowd involved early too. Not going to be as big of a crowd as Atlanta United has typically played in front of. But you can still get them on your side, and it's a little more intimate, right? It's a little closer up on top of the field. Get them on your side. Get them involved and energized early. Whether that's through a score or just a couple of big plays, but you got to get them involved. And then conversely, Atlanta United has to capitalize on chances. 20 shots against Chicago. 20. You got to capitalize. And so can they do that against a veteran who has nothing to lose and everything to gain in Eldin Jakupovic, and a back line that wants to show who they are? You know, these are big physical guys. You know that. You've seen them play Atlanta United too. Can they find a way to hold them back even with 20 shots? And they might create more because they're used to facing MLS side competition. I think it comes down to those simple stats there's more to it, and I'll get into that, as we go throughout the day and we talk more. But just keeping it high level, that's where my brain's at.
Okay. We anticipate you bowing up on all of us when we wander into the press box up there at Fort Finley later this afternoon. And we'll be ready with the soccer boppers ready to take you on. As always, my friend, it's great to see you with the intel and everything, especially dropping in, helping out with Jason, helping out with us. It's going to be great to see you later this afternoon as we get ready for Open Cup. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Drive safe, and I'll see you soon.
All right, that's Gabe Schray. Gabe Schray, the Schray guy. He is play-by-play for Chattanooga FC up in Chattanooga, because if he was play-by-play for Chattanooga FC someplace else, that might be a bit problematic. So that is the rundown of Chattanooga FC. And that is the Open Cup. So let me do this. I'm going to try and do a little bit of production as we go here, because we have the Rob Ukrop interview that I have to that I've got to get in, and I've got to figure out how to do it. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it domestically here. So I'm trying to knock out things and make sure that I don't play something that is a part of the show. So let me do this, and I'm trying to. All right, so if I do this and this and this, and now I can do a couple of other things. So what have I? Okay, so this is what I need to do. So I need to do that, and here's you get to see the magic of everything going on here on the show. After the Rob Ukrop interview, we'll look at Champions League. We'll look at all the other things going on during the day, and we'll lay it all out for you as to what you need to know, juice boxes, news, all the other things that we have. Don't forget, Red Clay Soccer Report coming up later on at noon. We catch up with Chattahoochee County. We go to Casita. We go to Athens. So it is Chatco and Clark Central, and we get to find out what's going on there as it continues to be the last week of the regular season in high school soccer. So we're going to be catching up with a really cool story in the lower classifications with a legend in the Western Frontier and how he is working his way forward at Chatco in Single A on the girls' side, and one of the nationally ranked teams on the boys' side when it comes to Clark Central. And so we're going to catch up with Coach Aiken at Clark Central, Coach Rusty Oliver at Chatco. We'll let you know what's going on there. Yes, the game is going to be, David wants to know if the game is going to be on 92.9, and that is yes. It is going to be on 92.9, and it is going to be as it was in the morning espresso. How was it phrased? At the end of it, the end. Hang on. So it is, where was it? It's like, where's my notes? Okay. Pregame, Abe and Maddie from Fort Finley at 6:30. Maddie will be on site. And here's Rob Ukrop. First and foremost, Rob, how many different are you to the point now where you're using both sides of the business card with everything that you're doing these days, considering kickers, Ivy, high school? What am I missing?
Well, I guess I learned from my mom and dad, and my high school and college coaches always give back a little bit. So try to just share some of the information that I learned when I was a young player. And I can tell you when I left high school, I had the fortune to get into Davidson College, and it set me up for a life in soccer that I had no idea was ahead of me. So I feel certainly blessed that Charlie Slagle and Charlie Blair developed me and gave me the opportunity. And just never know where the game will take you, and just have so much love and appreciation for the things I've been taught, and just trying to give back a little bit.
And well, I think you're giving back a little more than just a little bit these days. I think it's giving back a lot. I think we can say that. Richmond, the reason that I'm bringing you in topic number one is there's this tournament going on. Some folks have heard of it, and it is the All-In Open Cup. What is when it comes to the kickers, do you have a favorite memory or memories with Open Cup and the kickers from the time that you've been associated with it?
Yeah, I mean, in Richmond here, we love the Open Cup. We were several years ago when I guess the Federation was trying to give some people from Major League Soccer an out. We were, we tried to get to the top of the queue and say, hey, this is an important thing for U.S. soccer. We believe in it. It's an open competition across the board. Having the good fortune in 1995 to be with a bunch of wonderful players here in Richmond, we had the opportunity to lift the cup in El Paso, which was probably one of my career highlights. Just great group of people, wonderful coach, Dennis Violet. Just so many great memories. And, it went to penalty kicks. Nobody likes penalty kicks, but when you win it, you like them a lot better than the other guy for sure.
Where is said cup, by the way?
I don't know. I don't think that anybody's seen that cup since maybe, I don't know. It's been a long time. I guess I would say it's kind of like playing golf with your family. I played with my dad the other day and he beat me. He's 79 and beat me by a stroke. And it was pretty simple. There's no cup, there's no title, but the next meal somebody brings it up. Hey, how'd the golf go? And he gets to smile and enjoy it. So to me, every time somebody brings up the U.S. Open Cup, I have a big grin because I've been part of a group that got to raise it for this beautiful city of Richmond, Virginia. So happy to have it. Not sure what it even looks like at this point. I think I have a medal somewhere and a T-shirt they gave me, but it was just a amazing day down in El Paso. I think the game kicked off at 12 o'clock. We walked down the field and I think Ben Crawley and Richie Williams and Brian Campbell and Jeff Causey, everybody's like, man, like we're going to melt. It is so hot. It was crazy. But, we played man down for a long stretch and then we evened it with a red card on them. And it's just a 10v10 going to penalty kicks. And, it's one of those things that you think about forever. So blessed for that opportunity.
Were you in the PK rotation? Were you one of the ones that stepped up?
I was. So, I scored my penalty.
All right. So walk me through this. All right. So where were you in the order?
I typically was first a lot of times. I always like to shoot first to set off a good tone because I'm like any striker. I think I'm always going to make it. I can remember the 4 penalties I missed in my entire career, so I can walk you through all those. But yeah, so we went up 1-0. Lee Calishaw he squared a ball from the in line. I slotted it home far post. So we went up 1-0, and then several minutes later, Kevin Scott, an NC State player, used to play at NC State and just a great guy. And he 2-footed a guy in midfield. It's one of his probably not his best moment, but I remember we went down to 10 and everybody's like, man, it's a long time to play with this kind of heat. And then I got in behind, the guy dragged me down. So we ended up at 10v10 at some point late in the second half. So, the 10v10, it always favored us. We had a bunch of serial winners from UVA, Richie Williams, Ben Crawley, Brian Bates, Jeff Causey. These guys were just born winners. It was just an amazing experience. Jeff Causey was the hero of the day, fantastic on the penalty kicks. And then Michael Brady, I think he's down at Duke now coaching with John Kerr, but Michael Brady, he was a veteran guy at the time. He was probably like 30 years old, and we're like, man, that guy's old. And you look back now, and he was so calm and composed and slotted home, and the celebration was on.
And you get to hang on to those memories. Do you get to continue to remind kickers, players every single year through when you're in Open Cup? Do you get to share those stories with the following generations that wander through?
No, we don't talk about it too much, but there is, we've been very, very straightforward with our head coach, Darren Sawatsky. Like, Darren, it's easy for us tomorrow night against Columbus. It's easy to say we were in Spokane on Saturday. We're playing Omaha, who's the first or second on the table on Saturday, to say, hey, this is just a one-off. But no, we want to win this. I'd rather win this than on Saturday. This is an important piece, get to the round of 16. And when you get that far or this far, you never know who's going to win this thing. It doesn't, it favors Major League Soccer and maybe 1 or 2 championship clubs. But the Richmond Kickers, we've won it before. We've got it in our DNA. Why not us, right?
Yeah. And when you have a team coming to town out of Major League Soccer and you have the environment that has been there, that I think is a really cool part of the soccer DNA of the United States. And I'm not just talking Open Cup. I'm talking just all divisions. You throw it together. Everyone, when you ask those that know about the sport here in the United States, and specifically also, east of the Mississippi, you're talking about Richmond Kickers. You're talking about the history. You're talking about all those names that you mentioned, and Lee and what he was able to do when he was coach, and what Darren is doing now and what you're doing in USL League One. What has it been like for you to see the game continue to grow, and to see sometimes you'll see those second and third division clubs knock off somebody in an Open Cup situation? What's it been like for you over the last X number of years to see the game grow, to see the Open Cup be where it is?
Yeah, it's exciting. Within USL League One, you've got Westchester's going to host New York City. They host that game, I guess, tonight. So that's a huge gate for him. Most importantly, it's a reminder that, you can cheer for multiple teams in the same region. Like, we have a lot of DC United fans here, but this is the Richmond club. This is your hometown club. I texted with the Omaha general manager today and just wished her good luck tonight in Colorado. And, for us, we want all the League One teams. Now, there is a prize for the League One team that lasts the longest in this tournament. But, if it's not us, I'm happy it's for somebody else. But we want somebody to make a run because the talent isn't that far off. I mean, we sold a player just recently to the Hungarian First Division, team coached by Robbie Keane, Ferencváros, a kid for a six-figure deal. Griffin Garnett, who grew up coming to Richmond Kickers games, right? So there's a lot of different pathways for young players. League One is one of them. We've tried to highlight our young players and develop them. We think that's an important part of being sustainable long term. But with the Open Cup, it's why everybody just watched March Madness, right? And in our family, I've got a niece that swims at Duke, so there's a lot of talk about how great Duke was going to make this great run and win the NCAA. And in the group chat, it got really quiet when Duke lost from them. For me, I was trying to stir the pot a little bit, but this is why the Open Cup is important. It's a knockout competition. Everybody knows this, right? If we come out and play our best game tomorrow night and Columbus plays their best game, we're not going to win that game. So, we're going to hope that Columbus had a little bit of a drop off. Maybe we catch a break or two. Maybe there's all kinds of things that can decide a game. But, for us, getting off to a solid start, the first 10, 15 minutes, just settle in. That's the important part because some of our young guys haven't had this opportunity to play against some of the caliber players that we're going to play against.
First, or the previous two wins were against Nova and Loud United. From your coaching / player perspective, what did you see in the kickers in those first two rounds that led you to this matchup with Crew?
So we were fortunate to host both games. It's important. Camp Peary, our chief operating officer, team president, we always talk, we want to host the Open Cup. It's, the first round's always a hard lift. The second round, you're paying to host these games, but we think it gives our players the best advantage, especially during the season where we don't know whether we're going to be the road or home. So trying to get those games at home, we had some pretty good crowds to get it started. It's about momentum, right? So we had Luca Dorado scored. He got a clinching goal in the first game. We won 2-0. Josh Kirkland, a University of Mary Washington graduate and local high school player from Richmond, got the first goal, right? And then the next game, you could feel it coming. The nice part is we played those teams before, and I think we played Loud in the preseason. We're going to play them in the Prinks Tire Open Cup, in the Prinks Tire USL Cup in a couple weeks. So there is familiarity there. So it's always nice to play a team you've seen before. So there's not the big wow factor that it probably will be tomorrow night. But we got a 96-minute equalizer. It might have been the latest goal in the Open Cup for the Richmond Kickers. I passively watched the game, talk to fans, just kind of stoically watched like my dad watched my games when I was a kid. And when he put it in the net, I was jumping up and down looking for people to high five. I was screaming, my voice was shot, but it was what we needed, right? We're in a tough stretch. The preseason was difficult with snow and the ice, but our team is resilient. We're tough. Darren loves the Open Cup too. So we're going to press on and give it a go tomorrow night. We anticipate, if it's going to take 120 minutes and then another 15 minutes of penalty kicks, we're down with it.
When you mentioned Richmond, we always talk about City Stadium. And for those of us of a certain vintage that remember City Stadium in its previous incarnations and what it used to do, we're based here in Atlanta in the conversations that we've had. So we remember AAA baseball at City Stadium and all those times in the past. For someone who's never been, to see City Stadium and what you have been able to do with it to make it that piece of really, soccer America, what are folks missing out on by not being at City to see a home game?
Well, we call it the Vintage Stadium. It was built in 1929. We're pushing 100 years. We had one of our fans last year say, it's like the best local dive bar you have around town. We have a wonderful selection of craft beers and partners and food trucks. So it's a vintage Richmond thing, right? Maybe the next thing we probably need to add is maybe a tattoo parlor there. That's a big thing here in Richmond too. But if you've come out there, there's so much history there. My dad tells me in, I think 1956, 57, Billy Graham did one of his revivals there, 18,000 people right in the middle of that field, right? We've had the Italian Olympic team with Buffon, Cannavaro, Nesta all played against the Richmond Kickers in 1996 pre-Olympics, right? 1998 or 1998 November, we had the Brazilian women team come in to play the 99ers, who 6 months later will become the superstars Meehan, Julie Foudy, and crew, Brianna Scurry. So there's a lot of cool stuff. And, then you got the Open Cup victories there. I believe we beat Colorado Rapids at home. And I think we beaten DC once or twice. But, I think maybe my favorite game was we played the Galaxy one day. They came in, landed, and then start the game. I remember Alexi was a teammate of mine, and Darren's up in New England, but he was sitting up in the press box, and you could just feel that they underestimated us. It's what happens. It's kind of how the cup sets happen. So we got a goal, and we were hang on, and Landy came on, and he was frustrated with the referees, like every player that comes on trying to chase a game, right, that they should be winning. And that was just a highlight memory for me too. So there's a lot of cool history, but for us, we don't know who's going to be in the crowd. There's going to be some 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old young soccer player that has the dream to play on that field against top level competition, maybe a Griffin Garnett type player. And he's going to come out there, and whatever happens tomorrow, I guarantee you the Red Army will be full throated, full voice. They will make it the incredible atmosphere. They will ride the opposition. The crew will hear it from them constantly. But most importantly, whatever happens at the end of the game, we're going to have the Richmond Kickers players like we've done since 1995. They're going to be on that wall. They're going to sign autographs. They're going to high five and take photos. And they're going to make sure that the Richmond community that comes out to pour into us tomorrow night is going to feel the love back. So we're really excited about that opportunity.
So when do gates open traditionally?
Gates open at 6:00 tomorrow night.
Okay, so 6 and
or I
7,
guess tonight, yeah.
Yeah, 7:33-ish kick, I think, according to television. And it's a great atmosphere, and it's one of those places that you've got to have on your bucket list when it comes to the sport here in the U.S. Rob, I can't thank you enough for the preview and pulling back the curtain a little bit. It's great to reminisce about Open Cups past, and we got to find that trophy, man. We got to find that thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got it locked in my brain, so I'm happy. It is fun. This is the time of year usually get a lot of calls asking about that run, and I would say the most important part is the success that group of players has had. Whether it's in the coaching world, the financial world, guys have moved on, but it's amazing they're still giving back to the game. And I'm just proud to be their teammates and thankful for that opportunity. So thanks for having me on tonight.
Grand Exalted Pooh. And there you go, Rob Ukrop, chair for the Richmond Kickers, as they get ready for their matchup tonight in U.S. Open Cup. Now, let me get you into the rundown of today and where everything's going to be. Once again, juice boxes tonight, Open Cup, and it is going to be listed in the United States. Okay, so the 9 matches tonight, most of them between 7:03 and 8:03 kicks. 7 o'clock, Naples hosting the purple team. Naples a plus 333. Purple team's a minus 167. Draws a plus 320. 7:33. 6:30 on 92.9 The Game. Yeah, and David, they did kind of used to be weird about radio, meaning U.S. soccer. But 6:30 pregame, Maddie in Chattanooga, Abe in Atlanta. Game at 7:33. Mike and Jason will have that for you. Post-match, full-time report, Maddie in Chattanooga, Abe in Atlanta. 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app. Full-blown coverage with that there, starting 6:30 all the way through the evening. Chattanooga, plus 350 underdog. Atlanta United, a minus 172. And the draw is a plus 300. Let me give you the injury report, which came out yesterday. Availability report. Here's the availabilities. Questionable, Steven Alzate with an adductor, Stian Gregerson with wisdom teeth, Latte Lot and Saba with leg injuries. All 4 are questionable. Sergio Santos with his calf injury is out on the night. Game's going to be also on Paramount Plus. So sync up your broadcast with Mike and Jason and Paramount Plus. So Alzate, Gregerson, Latte Lot, Saba, all questionable. Sergio Santos is out. So that's your injury report for Atlanta United in the matchup tonight. Charlotte FC and Independence at Matthews. Charlotte minus 400, draws a plus 450. Independence are a plus 800. Great to catch up with Mike Jeffries in hour number 1. Richmond plus 675 at home, 730 against Crew. Crew's a minus 385, draws a plus 450. And like I said, I just think that there are just some times where the juice boxers, they just kind of put spaghetti on the wall and sit there and go, okay, that's the number. And we'll just use it for a couple. DC and 1 Knox. DC's a minus 213. This has changed since we've been on the air. 1 Knox is a plus 450. Draws a plus 320. Red Bulls hosting Pittsburgh. Red Bulls minus 208. Draws a plus 300. Riverhounds are a plus 500. 803. Houston and El Paso. Copa Tejas Open Cup style. Dynamo's a minus 217. El Paso is a plus 450. Draws a plus 350. Same draw number. Same start time. St. Louis City at Energizer Park hosting FC Tulsa. St. Louis City is a minus 227. FC Tulsa is a plus 425. Late game, 10:03. San Jose hosting Phoenix. San Jose is a minus 270. Phoenix is a plus 500. And plus 425 is your draw. Yesterday in Champions League, it was time to have other folks advance and make their way into the next round. Barcelona wins the match, but they do not advance. Our Atletico de Madrid advances. Barcelona won the match. They were a favorite at a minus 122, and there was a call late that drew back the equalizing goal. It was 2-2, but then went to VAR. 2-1 your final. Barca wins. Atleti advances. PSG no problem advancing. 4-0 in the aggregate on Liverpool. They were a plus 160 in the match. Liverpool a plus 138. So Atleti advances. PSG advances. Today, Arsenal a goal lead on Sporting at a minus 175. Draws a plus 333. Sporting is a plus 500 on the match, not in the two legs. Bayern right now lead on Real Madrid at home, a minus 189. That atmosphere is going to be must watch. Plus 475 on the draw for today. Real Madrid is a plus 390. Now, also on the board is what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it from our friends at Fanatis. FNTZ.co/soccer down here. And Naples, Florida, Abby, it might be on the YouTube channel. So check the U.S. Soccer YouTube and see if it's going to be there. So it has been in the past, and I'll go back and check on YouTube in a sec, and we'll see what where last night's matches were and if they were on the YouTube channel for U.S. Soccer. So Fanatis, FNTZ.co/soccer down here helps us out, helps them out, helps you out, to give you more matches that you can add to your system that you don't have access to in streaming already. With Fanatis, you get all the BNs, which means you get Argentina, you get Libertadores, you get Sudamericana. They had action last night in their tournaments. We'll get into those numbers before we get out of here. Yes, we're going long. Red Clay is at noon, where we catch up with Clark Central and with Chattahoochee County. Rusty Oliver, legendary head coach from the Western Frontier in the Columbus area. He's now leading Chatco. And Chris Aiken, the head coach at Clark Central, nationally ranked Clark Central. We'll catch up with them in the show. Rankings, standings, all the things. Brackets as we know them here with Decision Day tomorrow in Georgia High School. Playoffs start on Monday. And we'll let you know what our playoff grid's going to look like when the playoffs start rolling around. Okay. You get all the BNs on Fanatis, which means you get Libertadores, Sudamericana, French League, Turkish League, Polish League, ties into CATV, ties into Tigo Sports. You get everything at CAF. You get AFCON, Champions League, all that. You get Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. You get a lot of the A and B divisions in other countries in South America, Paraguay, Uruguay, etc. You get all of that that are a part of it. You get TVV out of Venezuela added if you want. If you have cable here locally in Atlanta, a particular carrier, if you have the Spanish package, then you can get that and you won't have to pay extra for it. And you've also get CDO, etc. So BN Español, Sudamericana, and Libertadores. That's tonight, 8:30 and 10. Open Cup, 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, FC Naples, and the Purple Team. I imagine Nico Cantor is going to be a mess. FS1 has your doubleheader in Champions League. Galaxy and Toluca listed at 9. Seattle and Tigres listed at 11:30. FS2 has the league we don't talk about at 2 o'clock. BN Español simulcasting at 8:30 and 10, but I add Libertad and Rosario Central at 6 o'clock. Fox Deportes simulcasting league we don't talk about. 2 to NA is Bayern Munich, Real Madrid at 3, and Champion and CONCACAF. Univision simulcasting Champions League. Golazo Network, Open Cup, 10 o'clock, the late game, San Jose and Phoenix, Fox O&E, the league we don't talk about, and the doubleheader in CONCACAF. Paramount Plus, both matches in Champions League, and all 9 matches in Open Cup. That's today, and that's brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, evantz.co/soccer down here. And let's see, before we get out of here, I know that Abby, you had mentioned, sorry. Yes, they're playing in Naples, Florida. Yes, they are playing in Naples at SC Naples. Home game for Naples, and it'll be a big night for them, and the match will be on YouTube. Thank you for that. Another couple of things. I know that, Abby, you were looking at costs, and there was another town that had introduced their rates for travel, and I think it was Boston. So Boston, I think, had posted their numbers. We've mentioned what NJ Transit was doing. I think Boston has posted their numbers as well. And once again, it is fairly expensive. So if you're heading up there, just be ready to pay the boatload of prices that would be attached to all of those things. So hang on. So that and that and that. Let's see. As I'm sitting here and trying to find the note that I saw on. Let's see. It was Boston had mentioned what their numbers were, and so of course now I can't find it. But yes, it was along the same lines of being expensive. So keep an eye on all of that, and we'll let you know what's going on there. Okay. News. We got into Matt Crocker a bit yesterday, got into it during yesterday's show, and Henry Bushnell for The Athletic has an article out about the why, and also what he did and didn't do, what the job titles were, and all that kind of stuff. So quickly, he informed hires up over the last 2 weeks, but many he worked with. Found out less than 48 hours before the announcement. Some were shocked or surprised. A lot of folks obviously talked to Bushnell on the promise of anonymity to protect their jobs, their positions, and not authorized to publicly discuss the departure. So Crocker, he mentioned that Bushnell mentioned that for months Crocker had been very passionate and positive about all of his thoughts. 3 sources suggested to The Athletic the Saudis had offered to pay him multiple times more than what he was making at U.S. Soccer, $658 in base. Then it was relocation of $152, and that gets you to $720 or $710. So $152 and $58. So $810, and so $9. Basically, he was making $990,000 bonus incentives and relo for the tax year ending March 31st to 25. Bushnell says what seems clear is he was not pushed out. So it was a decision that he made, high-level strategic one, and working on the future. But he decided less than 2 months before the World Cup to go chase after a multiplier when it came to his current salary with U.S. Soccer. So you're looking for a sporting director, and you're also now looking at the individuals inside, like Chief Operating Officer Dan Helfrich, who is going to be providing oversight and support across sporting operations. He's going to work with Assistant Sporting Director Nguchi Onyewu, and he was nominally Crocker's number 2, according to Bushnell, focused on different areas and initiatives, and Tracy Kevins, who leads the Women's Youth National Team program, and others in the sporting department. So it's going to be a collaborative process going forward with all of those. So yes, so it is going to be from $13 to $100 to go from New York to MetLife, and in Boston it was going to be just as expensive, I think. So Boston train FIFA. Let me see if they've got that posted. Yeah, 81 way. So thank you, David. Let's see. BBC was reporting. $80. You're right. So usually match day round trip costs $20. Non-match day single tickets cost $8.75. MBTA announced round trip tickets from Central Boston to Foxborough, $80. So that was the number that I was chasing. Thank you, David. Okay, trying to see if there's anything else that I might have missed game-wise or information-wise. And then we will get you off and running on your day because there's a lot to get into today. Let's see. Netflix picks up Mexican television rights for 2 cycles, Nations League finals, and the Gold Cup. And the U.S. women losing 1-0 to Japan last night. And so that was another Another piece of news that happened, women's national team falling to Japan 1-0, second meeting in the 3-game set. Micah Hamano scores the game winner. Third ever win over the U.S. in front of 36,128, setting the record for the largest crowd for a women's sporting event in Seattle. Tierna Davidson played for the WNT for the first time since February of 25. For the fourth time in her tenure, Emma Hayes entirely changes her starting 11. Ninth time in program history that a coach has swapped out their entire starting lineup. Starting lineup averaged 23.9 caps heading into the match, less than half the average of the previous match in San Jose. Japan made 9 changes. The lineup, once again, fourth time in her tenure, swapped starting 11s. Ninth occasion, 777 all-time matches. Lineup featured 11 changes. First time in Seattle since July 27, 2017 to open the inaugural Tournament of Nations, losing 1-0 to Australia. Previous high was 34-130 for Megan Rapinoe's farewell match. Added twist, first for the U.S. on grass at Lumen Field. New pitch having been laid down for Seattle Stadium come the World Cup. Claire Hutton, youngest captain to start a match with the armband since 01. They've only kept captain stats since 99. Since that time, 3 instances where players started the match with the captain's armband younger than Hutton now. Kat Whitehill at 19 in 2001. Alicia Kramer, 18. 2 days later in 2001, and Kramer was still 18 and 2 days later when she got it again on March the 17th against Norway. Tierna Davidson's first match, 33-3-8 all-time now against Japan. And U.S. has never won a match at Lumen Field. So Fallon Tullis-Joyce, your starting lineup. Tullis-Joyce, Avery Patterson, Emily Sams, Emily Sonnet, sub for Tierna Davidson, Lily Real, sub for Giselle Thompson, Claire Hutton, Lily Johannes, Lindsay Heaps comes in with 20 to go. Olivia Moultrie subbed by Sophia Wilson at 65. Jaden Shaw for Jamise Joseph with 10 to go. Allie Sentner, Emma Sears, Trinity Rodman subbed in with 25 to go. Claudia Dickey, Naomi Girma, Rose Lavelle, Sam Coffey, Michelle Cooper, Emily Fox not used, not dressed, Jane Campbell, Alyssa Thompson, and Kennedy Wesley. 12 shots to 9 USA over Japan. Both had 5 on target. 5 saves for Japan, 4 for the U.S. 5 corners, 3 to the U.S. 13 fouls by Japan. 3 for the U.S., 7 offsides, 4 for the United States. So the United States losing that one 1-0. And I'm trying to see if I missed anything else once again before we get out of here and come back in 48 minutes. Marco Rose. Advanced talks with Marco Rose to replace Andoni Iraola as head coach. There was talk in some circles that Kieran McKenna might be too expensive to bring in. But Marco Rose now part of that. Oh, yeah, Libertadores and Sudamericana. The keeper for Boca Juniors looked like that he had blown out his knee last night, and it was not a it was not pretty for Agustin Marchesín. It looked like it was non-contact, and so it was a non-contact injury. And Marchesín obviously will keep an eye on the injury that was that happened last night, and if there's any length of time given about his absences or anything like that. So let's see. So choosing a league. I don't want to choose a league. I need to choose a competition. So I need Copas. So Copa America is not what I'm looking for. CONMEBOL Cup of Champions is not what I'm looking for. So I'm in CONMEBOL, but I'm looking for the Copa. Let's see. So that's Asia. That is CONCACAF. That is Copa Bolivia. We're getting warmer. Brazilian Campeonato. CONMEBOL Sudamericana. So let's go CONMEBOL Sudamericana tonight. Caracas and Independiente Petrolero. Caracas a -205. Racing Club, where you can keep an eye on Atlanta United players, -105 with Botafogo at 6 o'clock. 8 o'clock, Club Olimpia and Barraca Central. Olimpia is a -140. River Plate and Carabobo. River is a -450 at the Monumental at 8:30. America de Cali is going to have a friendly, I think, in the next break with Houston Dynamo. They are a -255 with Alianza Atletico, and Millonarios at Nemesio Camacho El Campín against Boston River. They are a -310 with the over-under at 2.5 for the matchups in CONMEBOL in Sudamericana tonight. Last night, Gremio over Deportivo Riestra 1-0. Sao Paulo over O'Higgins 2-0. Audax Italiano 2-1 over Vasco da Gama. Montevideo City Torque 2-0 over Palestino. Santos and Deportivo Recoleta were 1-1. Neymar scored in the 4th minute. Fans were not happy that they should have blown out Deportivo Recoleta, and that Recoleta is the team that had the 52-year-old club president that wanted to play against all the big guns. And Neymar had it with was having it out with some fans after the match was over about the effort that was there in that match for Santos last night. So obviously keep an eye on that one as well. A lot of stuff going on, and it's going to be a big, busy day. Back at it again tomorrow. I will be in a hotel room. So I will be in a hotel room tomorrow morning to break everything down. Obviously, hour number 2 is the Power Hour with Nino and Nico. We are efforting some other guests to come in the 9 o'clock hour. Obviously, we'll have highlights and posts from what happened tonight in Chattanooga. 6:30 pregame, 7:30 kick, 5 Stripes countdown. A full-time report after. Maddie, Abe, Jason, Mike, Maddie, Abe. So that is your request, and that is your quest. So it is YouTube if you're looking for video, Paramount Plus if you want to sync it, and then you can look at it. Also, once again, sync the broadcast. Why not do that? Or be there in person at Fort Finley. Looking forward to seeing everybody when we get there later this afternoon. So for everybody here, thanks to Charlotte Independence for Mike Jeffries. Thanks to Richmond Kickers for Rob Ukrop. Thanks to Gabe Schray. Thanks to Nick Webster, the EVP of the UPSL. Thanks to Jason. Thanks to Dylan. And thanks to all of y'all. Busy show because there was a lot to get into. Same again tomorrow. Maybe not as busy, but still busy. Mucha Platiel, play it safe, back here in about 45 minutes. We're going to talk high school back then. Since it's the end of this show, it means I get to do this. Catch your breath. See you in a bit.